Jules, a cup tie that had pretty much everything. What a match.
Incredible night, really, and an incredible win for Barcelona. I think a defeat, considering the good run of form going into this game, the fact that they were a huge favourite, the fact that Ronald Koeman put a really strong team from the start as well. A defeat at Granada, I think, would have been a big setback from what we've seen recently. But the fact that they came back and won it the way they won it, the way they played, apart from, of course, some defensive individual mistake that they will have to cut out, and they looked at times really dodgy defensively, but I think the team spirit, the mentality, that togetherness in those key moments, I think would be huge tonight, and I think that will make them a lot of good as well to have that and to build on something, on what happened tonight. I think it's a huge win, more psychologically really than anything else.
And what a game for Antoine Griezmann, Jules.
Yeah, and if you remember, on January the 9th, Barcelona played away at Granada in the league, and he scored 2 goals. And that night we said, okay, maybe this is a turning point. He had a long goal drive before that game. There was obviously the little break at Christmas. And we said, okay, he played really well that night. He scored those 2 goals. And we said, there's something there happening that we didn't see before. Maybe that break did him a lot of good. Physically, he looked refreshed. He looked like with more desire, more willing, more enthusiasm, more energy. Him and Messi got on really well during that game back in Granada, that first game. And since then, he hasn't really looked back. I think he's 6 goals, 7 if you count the first one, although I think that would be an own goal, and 5 assists in the last 8 games in all competitions. So he's on a great run. And you saw today that him and Messi, clearly the relationship is there, but also he's far more decisive in what he does. They look for him as well, and he's a completely different player than what we saw at the beginning of December, for example.
So, good day for Barcelona. The same can't be said, though, for Real Madrid. Currently sitting 3rd in La Liga after disappointing defeat at the weekend. And more bad news for them regarding Eden Hazard today. He'll be out for at least a month, meaning that he'll miss the Champions League ties against Atalanta for La Liga matches as well, leading up to this. This signing just gets worse and worse, doesn't it, Jules?
Yes, worse and worse. It's an absolute nightmare. And of course, you could put responsibility on Hazard himself, although at Chelsea, he never had that kind of injury record, really. But since arriving at the club, it's been a disaster, really. We have to be honest. As good as he is, as promising as he can be sometimes when he plays, this is just not good enough to miss so many games, to be such a burden for this club, for this team, when clearly they bought you for all that amount of money to build the team around you, almost, for you to be such a key part of that team, and yet you've never been there because you've never been able to play and really give your best. And I think this is another huge setback, even for him. I mean, mentally, psychologically, it must be so hard, because it's also not his fault. It's not his fault if Thomas Meunier almost broke his ankle when PSG played against Real Madrid at the start of last season. You know, this is nothing to do with Eden Hazard. And we had this argument with Alejandro Moreno not long ago, because he said, yeah, but he was overweight when he joined the team for pre-season and this and that. Okay, I understand that, but he's always been like that even at Chelsea, and yet again he never had those injuries at Chelsea. I think he's been really unlucky, but of course he has to be now one of the worst signings that they've ever made.
At least 100 million they paid for him, and of course he will.
Well, I don't think he's helped himself, but then the other scenario is, like, it's Mother Nature. He's getting older, and the older you get, the harder you have to push yourself, and the more injuries you get, and then you start chasing your fitness and rushing back from injuries at times, and it just compounds itself. I mean, and then you add the luck into that, or the bad luck as well, and then it just snowballs. It can happen for players like that. I mean, it really can. Everybody's body is different, and when you're a player, if you know you're susceptible to injuries, then if you want to prolong your career, like the top guys, like Ronaldo, like Messi, you have to adjust your lifestyle.
Right.
The question would have to be asked with Eden Hazard: has he adjusted his training schedule, his lifestyle, his game, all of these things? As every year's gone past and he gets older and he picks up even more injuries, it becomes more difficult. I know, I've been there and I've seen other players. I've seen it happen to them. And it's a never-ending cycle once this happens. Unless you can take a long, long period off and really rehab properly and reassess, this is probably going to just continue through the rest of his career.
And what's interesting, kind of compelling to the struggles that he's had, we talk about the game against Atalanta. Him being available or not available doesn't really make too much of a difference, does it, to the discussion, considering how little he's contributed over the last 18 months?
No, and that was the big move that he wanted, wasn't it? I mean, he carried Chelsea for a long, long time. I mean, he was the talisman. And he went in there with a reputation that he could somewhat fill the void left by Ronaldo. Nobody's going to fill that void totally. We understand that. But he was going to go in there and he was going to help drive this team. But you saw the graphic there, he's missed more games than he's played. And for the money that they're spending on transfers and wages, that is for Real Madrid just not going to cut the mustard.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.